you like my silly little dance? Dancing because I have books, and that makes me happy. Kia ora. Welcome back to my channel. My name's Renee. I like to read books and then talk about them on the internet. Today we have a good old-fashioned book haul, but not just any old book haul. We got an international one. Recently we went on a little holiday to Sydney, visited my parents, got to meet my friend Sophie, ate lots of yummy food, drank a lot, and then obviously bought books, which I am super excited about. I feel like I haven't been buying books a lot lately like I used to, because I knew that this trip I wanted to go a bit balls to the wall, kind of. Well, as much as a suitcase limit would allow, obviously. And I did just that. I kind of said to myself, Renee, get whatever you want, whatever you see, whatever you know isn't going to be readily accessible to you in New Zealand. Just do it. Don't think about it. Just have it, because you deserve it. And I'm really glad that I allowed myself that rule, because I just grabbed everything that I saw that I wanted, and it was a nice feeling. So I'm gonna quickly run through the books that I got and where I got them from, because I don't know, anyone traveling to Sydney might be interested in some of the places that I visited. Okay, I'm going in order of date purchase, so the very first book to the very last book. Ready, steady, go. Okay, the first bookshop that I visited was in Newtown. We went there on the first night that we arrived, on the Wednesday. Excuse me. All secondhand books, really good selection, like bestsellery stuff. Not a lot of lip fic, but some good things there. I'm sorry, I'm just gonna get a glass of water. Okay, that's better. I haven't done this in a while. Thought it's a bit dry. Okay, wait. That's right, Newtown. First bookshop that I visited was Elizabeth's Bookshop. I think that's what it's called. Yeah, all secondhand books, really good curation, like nicely laid out, had a cool vibe. First book I picked up was A Girl Returned by Donatella Di Pietrantonio. Italian translated fiction. I've had my eye on this for a while. Translated by Anne Goldstein, who translates all of Elena Ferrante's work, which we love. It's about a young girl who is adopted out of her family, but then reintroduced when she's like 13. Fraught familial relationships are one of my favorite things, so yeah, I saw this and was like, gotta have. It was the only book that I purchased from there. Again, I was just going for things that I really wanted, and things that I knew I wasn't going to be able to get in New Zealand. Then I went a couple doors down to another bookshop that was all brand new books, called Better Read Than Dead. So still in Newtown, and they were open quite late, I think, like 10 PM, which is cool. Yeah, all brand new books, kind of had a bit of a queer focus on a lot of their authors, writers. A lot of the bookshops that I went into had really good Australian fiction sections as well, which was cool to see. But there I picked up Burkes by Anne Quinn. Have seen a lot of people talk about this writer on Bookstagram and absolutely rave about her. I'm not 100% sure what this one's about, but it's her debut. She also died really young. I think she might have committed suicide. But yeah, I was excited to see this because not something that I would ever see in an independent bookshop in New Zealand, and I actually came across quite a bit of her fiction. Had to kind of hold myself back from buying all of it because I haven't read any yet. Do I regret that? Maybe, but I'm happy with this purchase. I think I'm going to enjoy it. Anyway, happy with that. So that was day one purchases. 2 books, tame, like, okay, that's good. I feel fine about that. Day 2, didn't buy any books because I was meeting Sophie the next day. Wanted to hold off on visiting the bookshops that I knew we would head up together. So day 2, Thursday, didn't buy any books. Was feeling a little bit like, oh my god, am I going to come away from this trip with no books? But of course, when Sophie and I got together, we pretty much went nuts. Sophie and I met at a cafe bookstore in the morning and had breakfast together, which was super cute, super nice. Great place to meet for the first time, an internet friend, and real life friend now. All secondhand bookshops, kind of like this tiered upstairs, downstairs, basement type situation, and yeah, had a look through. Prices were kind of like very varying. Things started from like $5 and went through to some ridiculous prices, really, like $40 for a secondhand book. So, but I picked up 2 books. I got 1004 by Ben Lerner. Have wanted to read this for a while. I've heard that it's his best one. I have 2 of his other books, 3 actually, 2 of his fictions and 1 of his non-fictions, but he's really someone that I should just read before I buy any more of his stuff. But yeah, was excited to see that, so grabbed that. And then this one is the most gorgeous edition of Snow Country by Yasunari Kawabata, but it's actually like the cover is falling off. Yeah, the glue has kind of like all dried out, and I don't know if you can see that, come away from the, can you see that? Come away from the book itself, so I need to perform some surgery and fix her up, but just gorgeous. We love her. She must be treated with respect and kindness and given a new lease on life. I just saw that and thought, it's so pretty, I need to have it. I know that this is supposed to be like super iconic, a classic. I had to have it. And this, no matter how beaten up she is, I had to have it. So pretty. Okay, next we went up or down, I don't know, however way you want to look at it, to another bookshop called Burkes. Can't think of how you say it, but probably my favorite bookshop of the whole trip. I thought it was just 1 floor. Turns out there are 2 floors to it. 3 actually, and it was one of the best bookshops I've ever visited, ever. The whole bottom level is fiction, no, brand new books and like gifts, which I just thought so smart. Like, you go to a bookshop, you want to buy someone a gift, but then there's other things as well that you would never think of, like woven baskets and like, you know, just like gifty things that aren't tacky. It was really good. They had a really good fiction section and then like interesting books kind of scattered throughout a lot of the other gifty products. And then Sophie was like, oh yeah, there's an upstairs. I was like, oh, really? And she was like, yeah, everything upstairs is secondhand. And I was like, oh, this will be interesting, because this bottom level was so beautifully like curated and laid out. It was just as beautiful. Everything looked as though it could have been in a brand new bookshop. Like it didn't feel like a lot of secondhand bookshops do, where things are just like cluttered and just kind of put wherever. It was just as beautiful. There was also a cafe. You could sit and have a little coffee and a snack or a sweet treat. It was really great. And then if you went up another level, there was like all non-fiction, but it was almost like special editions or like more niche topics. yeah, absolutely loved that bookshop. I got 4 books. These are the books. The first one is a secondhand book. It's The Grass Heart by Truman Capote. I believe this is a collection of short stories from him, or maybe it contains, yeah, a few short stories from him. I love these vintage editions of his books. I have 2 others, so when I saw this I was like, I kind of gotta have it. Yeah, very cool. So that was the only secondhand book that I picked up, but everything was just so beautiful in the secondhand section that it all felt a bit like brand new books, really. And then I got 3 other books. I got Milk Fed by Melissa Broder. Decided to bite the bullet. Kind of been interested to read this after reading The Pisces and not enjoying it, but wanting to like Melissa Broder. Did that. The White Book by Han Kang. Sophie and I both got this book. Both of us didn't love The Vegetarian, but both of us said we wanted to read this, so we both got it. Meditation on white, and it's kind of different properties, and seems like it's more of a kind of poetry, prosy type thing rather than fiction, so I'm excited for that. And then lastly, I picked up this selected poetry collection of Adrian Rich's, which, I mean, I had to get. It was $30. Something like this would cost at least $50 in New Zealand for a poetry collection this big. And, you know, I've never seen this in New Zealand in an independent bookshop, so yes, I did that. I did the thing, I got the book. I wasn't going to, but then I was like, you gotta do it, you gotta do it. We did other things during the day. We went and had some lunch. We went and looked at some art. We did a lot of walking around. We drank in the park. Again, if you want to see any of this, go see the vlog when it comes out. And then we saved the big guns for the evening because we were going back into the city. Oh, those first bookshops, by the way, were in Paddington. So that's where we were in the morning. In the evening, we went back into the city, and we went to a bookshop called Kinokuniya. That was honestly like book heaven. It was humongous. I definitely, in places like that, get overwhelmed and usually try to just stick to the fiction essay collections, maybe some memoirs, but honestly it was too massive to look at everything. I got 6 books from here, and these are the books. I got Some Trick by Helen DeWitt, a collection of weird, wonderful, odd short stories from her. Very cool, very cool. Fleur Yagi's I Am the Brother of XX, another little collection of fictional stories. Heard Fleur Yagi is quite weird and wonderful, so definitely have a bit of a weird theme going on. Only to be Continued by Leonora Carrington and her collection of short stories. I really need to read her fiction, but yes, I love her art, so I kind of just grabbed it because I'm a fan of her in general. I got A Complicated Kindness by Miriam Taves. Obviously loved Women Talking. I own this book already. Here it is. I bought this for $1 at a book fair, but I kind of want to collect all of the Faber editions because, I don't know, they're kind of that, but this is cute too. Maybe I'll keep both, I don't know. I don't need 2 copies of the same book. Anyway, I'm trying to collect these. I would have bought more if there were more that I didn't already own, but there weren't, so I just picked up this one. It's about a young girl who moves to New York City. Well, no, she wants to move to New York City, but she is living in Canada instead on her family's chicken farm. Cool. Next I got Maud Martha by Gwendolyn Brooks. This is another book that I've seen on the internet, people raving about it. I think Nathan's review of this is something that kind of sold it for me, so we got that. And then lastly, from Kinokuniya, I picked up The Mayor of Leipzig by Rachel Kushner. It's still in its plastic. Shall we open it? We can do this together. Okay. I wanted to keep it nice for the plane trip back because I was like, I don't really want to get it scuffed up. Very well packaged, I must say. Just keep that away from the dog. There she is in all her glory. Beautiful gold foil. I've actually read this book and really loved it. It was one of my favorites of 2021. But I read a library copy, so I have wanted to own it for the longest time, and when I saw it I was just like, it's a sign, you've got to get it. So really happy to have found that and to add it to my library. Anyway, that was Kinokuniya. This was in the city. It's in the Galleries, I think is the name of the shopping centre. It was great. It was I could have spent a lot more time and more money in that bookshop. So that was the day with Sophie book shopping. On the next day, which was the Saturday. No, it was the Saturday. On the Saturday, we went to the Glebe markets in Glebe. And I didn't buy books there because there was no one selling books, but we went to Safo Books, the next bookshop, which is a secondhand bookshop with a cafe in it again. Aussies definitely like to mix books with food, which I think needs to be a thing here. So all secondhand books. I kind of didn't have much time to browse, so I was trying to be quick, so I stuck to the fiction section. And there I picked up The Death of Vivek Oji by Akwaeke Emezi. I have never read this book and have never seen it secondhand, so saw it, picked it up, excited to read it. Really enjoyed Freshwater by Emezi, so I'm looking forward to reading something else by them. And I got George Saunders' 10th of December, a collection of, again, short stories. Bought a lot of short stories collections unknowingly on this trip. Like, I wasn't going out of my way to buy short story collections. It just kind of happened. It was my little Safo purchases. Then we went to the last bookshop of the trip, Glee Books, spelled G-L-E-E-B-O-O-K-E-S. Glee Books. It's a play on the word glebe, books. Anyway, loved this bookshop. Was located in the old post office. Really cool building, great selection. Looked like they had a lot of kids books. There were lots of kids running around, so I'm assuming there were kids books. And here I picked up 4 books. Again, could have purchased more, but wanted to really just focus on the good stuff. So I got The Awakening by Kate Chopin. This is a book that I already own, but I don't own this cool cover in this modern library edition, which I just love. I've heard that this is kind of like very groundbreaking in the way that it talked about sex and desire and depression. Looking forward to reading that. Okay, next I got Faces in the Crowd by Valeria Luiselli. I had never seen this Granta edition, so I thought it was quite cool. Not sure what it's about, but it is her debut fictional novel. Very fragmentary by the looks of it. Also translated from the Spanish. Yeah. And the last 2 books I got were Cisco by Alison Mills Newman. This I picked up because of Kat from Kat's Field Notes. She talked about this in one of her recent hauls, maybe. Anyway, sounded really good. It's about an artist, an older artist living in New York City. Yeah, she's having a love affair with an indie filmmaker. Cool New Directions cover as well. And then the last book that I picked up was Happiness as Such by Natalia Ginsburg. I have wanted this edition for the longest time. I've also got this book out from the library numerous times and haven't started it because I know the urge to want to write in it is too strong. And that's the last little book from the haul. Many new books acquired, many new books to have to read, and feeling very happy about being able to like treat myself on the holiday and yeah, acquire some amazing lovely books and to shop in a place that I've never done before, like shopped before. It's cool to be able to see independent bookshops and like secondhand bookshops actually being used as community-based things. I think cafes and coffee shops and bookshops make sense and is what is going to draw people that may not necessarily come there for the books. It just felt nice to see people kind of enjoying those spaces for other things as well as books. Have you enjoyed that book haul? Let me know if you've read any of these. What are your thoughts? Okay, I'm gonna go now. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Look out for the vlog, the Sydney vlog as well. Okay, ka kite.